the reason why I was attracted, I think, to Juliet was number one. I mean, she's very attractive. I mean, that's like an easy one. But then as I get to know her, I think I was impressed by maybe her values. You don't see them, but I think they come across in how somebody relates to people, what they talk, what seems important to them. And I think she's a lot more grounded, I think, in core values, which was even better than mine. So I thought this person actually can put me in a place where I'll be able to at least also grow in that sense, right? Because when I met her the second time, I think she was in a group of friends, who were, according to my limited understanding of them, of questionable character. Let me put it mildly. And so, but I could see, maybe she's not quiet there, but I struggled with that for quite a while, because I was like, well, what I was told is that every human is an average of the 5 people around them. A lion cannot go and hang out with the cheetahs. You don't get that. If you are essentially an average of people who are around you. So that was a bit concerning to me, because those people, they are fine when they're young and they have to go and explore life, which is completely fine, right? But then for someone who is looking for a soulmate, you have to consider a bit more fundamental ingredients, right? But I thought she has those, and so I continue to like that. So, like, you know what? Let me continue to see how far this can go between the two of us. Our cultural differences, the fact that I'm from Tanzania and she's from Kenya, and I'm from a very specific Tanzanian community, and then I found out she's from the Kikuyu community in Kenya, if I'm allowed to say that. That I think brought some challenges to some extent, but not too pronounced. Not too pronounced in the sense that maybe it was easier for me to not know that, because then I was just essentially a white space, right? For her to explore that white space, and for me, my limited understanding of the cultural nuances of Kenya gave me the platform to not be afraid, essentially, right? Because then I would know the cultural dynamics of Kenya. But I think between the two of us as people, I didn't quite see that as an impediment. In how we developed our relationship, right? Because I'm trying to imagine a scenario if she were coming from a different community. I don't think that would have been an issue, but I think what was a benefit to me is the openness and the acceptance of her for someone who is a foreigner. Now looking back, I realized, wow, I think she's probably very, very brave to even do that, right? But I think for me, I think it was a much easier, I think, cultural, union than maybe it was from her standpoint.
During the relationship, I would say the things that were pronounced culturally it came from the expectations, because from a Tanzanian perspective, now that I understand the culture, the women are they're homemakers, if you call them. Most of them, they tend to be very, very domesticated. So, and then from a Kenyan perspective, then we are not too domesticated, most of us, if I may say. And then but he didn't have those expectations, and maybe because he had also experienced other cultures that outside the Tanzania. But what I thought was a challenge is the expectation, because from my community, then I would see a man, then I would see him as a man, maybe from not my community, maybe my family, and then from his side, then also women they're very, in as much as they are domesticated, they're very outgoing. Then the cultural limitations in Kenyan communities, in my community, are not there. Most of them in the Tanzanian community, like, you'd go there and it's okay for women to drink and men to drink and their children, mother, father and children to drink. You wouldn't see that in my community. So I feel like their culture, they're a bit more liberal as compared to mine. So I struggled a bit to understand them and understand